When we interact with artificial intelligence today, the experience is designed to feel like magic. You type a prompt, and a sleek, frictionless interface instantly delivers an essay, a schedule, or an image. But beneath this convenient surface, we are witnessing a massive transfer of global power. Past technological leaps, like the space race or the early internet, were driven by state institutions with high levels of public oversight. Today, innovation is dictated by private transnational corporations. We have entered a reality where corporate logic, prioritizing efficiency and profit above all else, dictates how these tools are used. A handful of companies have become the central hubs of algorithmic power. Because this shift happened so fast and mostly out of sight, the algorithms that will design our economic and social futures are being built entirely outside the bounds of democratic control. This new environment operates on a few core drivers: ruthless efficiency, constant optimization, and maximum profit extraction. The tension arises when we apply those cold, machine-driven metrics to evaluate human beings. This directly clashes with the concept of intrinsic dignity, the belief that a person has supreme, inherent value simply because they exist, completely independent of how much they produce. That concept of inherent worth was codified after World War II to protect the vulnerable from systemic exploitation. If we allow the digital economy to measure people solely by their productive output, we agree to play a game the machine will always win. The tech industry promised that artificial intelligence would handle the drudgery, freeing humans from physical labor to pursue creative, meaningful work. In many sectors, the opposite is happening. Workers are being de-skilled and forced into rigid, automated surveillance systems, their daily tasks dictated by the speed of the machines. We are told these systems are objective, but algorithms are written by humans. They often launder the political and moral biases of their creators through math and code, disguising opinions as neutral facts. These opaque algorithms silently act as gatekeepers. They are given the authority to decide who gets a bank loan, who secures a job interview, and who receives essential medical care. When we outsource judgment to a machine, we remove empathy and accountability from the fabric of society. We tend to think of artificial intelligence as something immaterial, existing entirely in the cloud. But every instant response is built on a massive, invisible, and underpaid physical workforce. Deep inside the supply chain, the hardware required to run these models depends on the brutal extraction of rare earth minerals. This is grueling labor, often performed in dangerous conditions. This extraction is digital too. Through data colonialism, powerful tech entities are siphoning health and demographic data from developing nations. This data turns human lives into exploitable commodities, used to train predictive models and shape markets that almost exclusively benefit the wealthy. This is driven by a transhumanist mindset, a perspective that views human beings as flawed hardware that needs to be optimized or replaced. When we prioritize raw efficiency over empathy, we create a system of global subordination disguised as technological progress. Society does not have to reject innovation, but we must urgently separate this technical dominance from the authority to decide how our communities actually function. This requires the principle of subsidiarity, the idea that decisions should be made as locally as possible. Power must be decentralized so the communities actually affected by technology have a seat at the table. To make this work, we need independent algorithmic audits, transparent data chains, and equitable access to digital infrastructure for everyone. We also have to keep a human in the loop. Any automated decision that affects a human life, from hiring to the use of force, requires mandatory human oversight. Enforcing accountability ensures that the ultimate responsibility for a decision traces back to a human conscience, rather than a line of code. When faced with borderless systemic threats in the past, the response has been to forge international treaties and empower global institutions. We have a choice between a machine-optimized world and a society intentionally designed to protect its most vulnerable members. Our progress as a civilization is proven by our capacity to preserve human dignity and care for one another. No amount of raw processing power can substitute for that.